Okay, so I'm gonna get the present energy, the current challenge, what is it, and then advice card. All right, we'll look under the deck, hold on. Let's do the same with the tarot. We're gonna get current energy. Oops, it showed itself. That's 6 of Wands, but we'll put it here. Challenge right now, and the advice. Okay, so underneath the decks, let's see what we got. Yeah, we're getting the Empress card in the reverse with the Compassion card in the reverse. And it's Kuan Yin on here, the goddess of compassion. Again, it's upside down. And it says, I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. But it's upside down. So let's just peek under the Empress and see what else is going on there. Death, the world in the reverse. Yeah, see what's under here. We've got Empress reverse. Oops, the Death card. What else do we have here? The world in the reverse, which is also like, so again, this is the, I would say this has been coming up for 3 months already, that a lot of you are very close to the end of a big life cycle. But something probably like needs to be communicated first. I'm gathering with this Compassion card being reversed, and it's saying that curiosity breeds compassion, that there could be like a lack of communication about needs or wants. Like maybe it's not completely clear how you're going to be supported through a transition period, I'm gathering. The Empress energy is about feminine, like embodiment, but it can also be like nurturing, supportive, co-creative, because she's all the queens combined. And think about like the mother energy, like the divine mother energy. A feeling like you're unconditionally loved and supported, and like infinitely supported beyond just what you can see right now. So there's something going on here. I'm getting just around maybe support, and like I said, maybe a lack of clear communication up until this point. Yeah, there's like some heartache still. There's judgment again. It's a big spiritual lesson, I think, around speaking up and asking for what you actually need. To do that, you might need to risk some judgment or rejection, or people not necessarily giving you everything you want, but if you're not clear about what you need and want, then like that's your lesson. Then you can't be pissed off and disappointed when you're not getting your needs met. You have to speak up and advocate for yourself. What's under the Kuan Yin card? Yeah, the Mistress of the Labyrinth, again, this came up in my last reading. My soul knows the way, and the only way out is through, and that's upright. So let's just see what else we're getting, but that's kind of my initial impression. There might need to be a chat. You might need to speak up to someone in particular, or just in general in your life around your needs, instead of like feeling victimized or feeling discarded or forgotten about, but yet you're not like actually fully expressing yourself in a clear, honest way. Okay, interesting that I said clear and honest way, and the current energy is the Saint of Authenticity in the reverse. I am my authentic self in all circumstances. And then 6 of Wands upright, which is there's a dissonance here. This is like contradictory energy. I think the present energy could be being inauthentic to save face, to preserve your image or your reputation, but you're not being your authentic self. I do think this stems in many cases to a mother wound. Again, Empress reverse influencing the whole reading, where it's like you didn't feel loved when you were growing up in the way that maybe you needed, or you didn't feel appreciated, or you didn't feel like your needs mattered. And so now, in order to get your needs met, you might be inauthentic. You might pretend, act, put on a facade, put on a brave face when you're actually feeling scared, like put on a happy face when you're really feeling pissed off and depressed, because that's how you learned as a kid to survive. So we carry that into adulthood. What does it look like? People pleasing, self-abandonment, codependency, addictions, relationship addictions, resentments, bitterness, feeling irritated that, again, your needs don't matter, and you always feel like you're the last one to get anything, if anything, but that's not coming from nowhere. So you have to be aware of where that's actually coming from, and that it's up to you to also evolve that belief system. so that you can get what you deserve and need. That felt very clear. What's the challenge right now? Yeah, look, there's more like deceptive energy. It's coming with the ego card. This is a Tibetan card, the Diamond-Hearted Dakini reversed, and it says, I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. That's the challenge. And do you see how, I'm curious what the advice is, but do you see how he's looking over his back at the card, kind of like, the challenge right now is to be your authentic self. And part of that is going to mean, number one, like I said, your communication might need to be better or more clear or a little more edgy. Like maybe you're asking for something, but you're not being completely honest about what you really need because you feel shame or because you're afraid that someone's going to say no, or you're, again, saving face somehow. This is giving me like pride and ego being part of the problem. Caring a lot about how people see you and perceive you because deep down you don't really truly feel good about yourself, or you feel pretty bad about yourself, so you're trying really hard to make it look like everything is fine or that you're really happy or that you feel confident, but you actually don't. And it's okay to not feel confident all the time. But if that's the way you're getting your needs met and you have to pretend or put on a show in order to get what you need, whether that be money or emotional support or whatever it is, or your basic primal needs like food, shelter, whatever. Again, this stems back from how you grew up, so you really have to look back and be like, oh, that's where I learned how to self-abandon. Maybe if I want a new reality, I'm going to have to stop abandoning myself, but that's going to mean standing up for myself, advocating for myself, and then facing the resistance or judgment or criticism or whatever it is that's going to come along with you changing your whole vibe and mindset. Your whole vibration is going to change, so then your reality is going to start to change, and your relationships are going to start to change. And then you have to face your abandonment fears, because then certain people are going to leave, or they're going to be pissed off, and you're going to start repelling things with your authenticity. This is part of the path, you guys, of being really authentic and honest and truthful and in your highest values and in integrity. The shit's going to crumble at some point, maybe multiple times. And certainly the identity that you cling to for some sense of security or false sense of, confidence, like those things are also going to come undone, but that they have to. So what's the advice? 7 of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so this is the card right. I always pay attention to succession of cards, like when one comes right after the other. This is the card that comes directly after the 6 of Wands, so it would go from the 6 of Wands to the 7 of Wands. This is a card about resistance. Do you see how he's like fighting off all of these other wands? It's about like being on the defense, kind of like defending your position. But it's reversed, because the advice is to stop defending this position, which is just your pride and ego, pretending to be somebody that you're not, in order to get some of your needs met, or some important needs met. But like the universe wants better for you. It wants you to feel supported being your authentic self, or you wouldn't have the desire for it. You wouldn't even be watching this reading. You wouldn't have landed here. So the advice is to let your guard down, but also to let someone see your vulnerable self, like what you actually need is, I'm really getting this feeling of like, if I say what I've been there, you guys. I'm just going to give you an example, a short one. Like when I had a long journey, and then there's been a lot of like financial struggles in building this business. But I know that some of that were like soul lessons around me allowing myself to receive support and be vulnerable and feel like maybe that initial pang of shame or, oh, I feel so ick about this. And yet it turned out to be like the best thing, exactly what I needed. And that's how the love was coming through for me in that moment, was through these forms of support. But asking for it triggered shame, because I didn't want to have to need that kind of help from someone or from particular people. And so I'm just getting that that's part of your lesson. Like the advice is that you might be afraid to ask because you're like, well, if I say what I actually need, it's too big of an ask. Or it makes me feel shame that I don't have, maybe you don't have a lot of money and you're like, I want to do this thing, but I don't have enough money to do it. Maybe that means I'm a reject and I don't deserve love, or I don't deserve a new beginning, or I don't know. I know a lot of people out there struggle with money. especially on the spiritual path, and that's part of your learning. So whatever it is that you need and that you've been afraid to ask for, I'm feeling like you've got to stop defending the position that you've been in, which is inauthentic. You might look good on the outside, but you don't feel good on the inside. Let me repeat that. It might look good on the outside. You don't feel good on the inside. That is a huge marker that you're out of alignment, right? That something's off. And again, it coming with a lack of being inauthentic, basically, that's part of your learning right now, is to be authentic. So we're getting this advice to let your guard down, to let maybe someone, or to expose a part of you that you've been hiding, probably because you feel shame about it, and actually let the light in, or let someone in, or allow the support to come through. I think you're going to be surprised how supported you will be, but in a healthy way. Remember, if support or getting support always came with burden, it always came with shame, it always came with guilt, it always came with strings attached, then you don't have any context for receiving from real generosity, where people aren't trying to manipulate you or guilt trip you or expect something specific in return from you. Like, there is a reality where you can receive and not be guilted. Promise. Again, if you're watching this reading, there is a possibility for that. It's your karma, or you wouldn't be hearing it. So the advice is to transform pain into suffering. And it says, Our Lady of the Hermits, it's the Black Madonna reversed. And it says, I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love. But this was also in the reverse, because this is part of the advice, to transform whatever pain you've been in, whatever thing you've been holding on to. Like I said, I think it's part of, like, that you need some type of support, but you've been ashamed to ask for it or speak it out loud directly and clearly, and it's causing a ton of suffering. Like, you don't have to suffer like this anymore, but what you do have to do is open up your heart, probably let yourself be really vulnerable, which, again, trust me, I'm a very strong personality. I'm sure you know that by now. I also was like hyper independent. So to receive support from me felt like failure. But in truth, that had nothing to do with failing. Zero. That was just a story that I had created. And once I learned how to receive more easily in some of those ways, guess what? Now it's easier to receive money in ways that feel joyful, or love in ways that feel light on my system instead of burdensome and heavy. Like, everything started to shift. So let's get like an overall advice card from this deck. Let's see. What is the overall message? This reading feels very clear, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Let's just get one more from this deck. Well, I think that one was pretty. I don't know what it was. I'm going to keep it. It was the first flip. It is this guy on a white horse, and let's see what it is here, because I can't read. Yarilo, Y-A-R-I-L-O. Okay, and he's on this beautiful white horse. It looks like he's in the water, so maybe like on the ocean. Okay, what does this mean? The colors are really pretty, and there's like this rainbow behind him. All right, what's this one about? It is important to have a heart that's open yet discerning. There you go. Deep connection requires openness and knowing where to place your love. It says, in Slavic folklore, Yarilo is simultaneously the god of war and the god of springtime. Hello, synchronicity. It says he goes through the cycle of life every year, dying in the winter and bringing back spring from the underworld when he returns to life. And here we are, literally spring equinox. So it says, in matters of the heart, it's easy to become swept away toward one extreme or the other. One severity is walking around with rose-tinted glasses, your heart on your sleeve. The other is closing the heart down in complete distrust. There's a sweet spot bang in the middle where you can be open and perceptive simultaneously. Just like spring breaks up summer and winter, nuance is needed when falling in love to prevent the extremes from taking over. With only openness, issues arise where love can be blind, leading to obvious breaches of trust that can get ignored. Being in love with love is wonderful, but don't let it blind you to reality. Red flags aren't always visible, like when we have expectations and wants. And so The highs and lows of a toxic relationship can be addictive with the hits of dopamine it provides. I've talked about that many times with like intermittent reinforcement, and when you stay in these awful cycles with a person, and it's not about love, it's about your wounding as a child, it's about your attachment issues, it's about your fears, like staying in situations where, yeah, you might get some needs met, like you have a nice house or you have more money available or whatever, but then it's like, but we lie to each other, but I have to fake it. I have to pretend to be happy, or my partner cheats on me, or we cheat on each other, or we blah, blah, blah. Or this person drinks a lot. Sorry, I'm seeing all these. I just put my glasses on and saw what I actually look like. This is air dried hair. Okay, back to the reading. If you're in a situation, again, where, yeah, some of your needs are getting met, but it's really unhealthy, or your partner is like rude to you or condescending or abusive in any way, like even if it's only once in a while, once in a while is already too much. So I think this is just a deep pattern around scarcity that's playing out, and unworthiness, that ends up in these relationships, but you're not unworthy. Again, it's just a pattern. So it says, soul remembrance and desire at first sight are real, yet it takes time to get to know the complexity of a person and learn if you're genuinely well matched. Chemistry doesn't always come with compatibility. Sometimes love isn't enough when you're fundamentally incompatible. On the other hand, not ever letting anyone in and remaining shut down is equally as extreme as having no barriers at all. And that's what I was feeling here. It's like, you've got to find some middle ground. Because if you're in the Empress reverse, it's not receptive at all, right? So this is transforming. But again, there is this like need for communication. It could have to do with financial stuff or just your stability. But I'm just getting that that's where the grief is. It's like this need to find the middle way. Yes, Buddhism is the middle way. It's not about extremes. It's about the middle path. So it says, another perspective is that you took a chance on love because you deserve the connection and companionship of the experience, right? Letting someone in and then getting burned can lead you to feel like you made a mistake by trusting. That perspective makes you like powerless and puts it all in their hands. You're like, if you open your heart, you're taking a chance on you because life is too short to play it safe all the time. Having an open heart to the possibility of love, yet a mind that remains shrewd, is a formidable combination to behold. Yeah, you want to use your discernment, but you don't want to block out everything. It says, bring your past with you as a discernment tool rather than mistrust, and see your love life bloom on a solid foundation rather than one built on disillusionment. Or, like I said, all of your old trauma. So if this is love related for you, then yes, there is a situation that either you've been in previously or that you're in currently where you're being inauthentic. It's meeting some of your needs, and it may even be meeting a need for companionship, security, stability. I don't know. Some people I can't relate because I'm the queen of loving my own company and being alone. Like, I love to be in my own space with myself. But a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people don't want to be alone. They're terrified to be alone. That scares the shit out of them. So a lot of people hang on to things just because they don't need to be by themselves, or various million other reasons, whatever. But what I'm gathering here is that you've got to find the middle path. It's not one extreme or the other. You have lessons in opening yourself up, but like being more discerning about who you're doing that with. You have lessons around receiving support, but again, discernment around how that support is coming. What does it mean? Do you have to lie and be inauthentic to get it? Have you never experienced a really authentic, generous connection where it didn't feel like shit in some possible way? Like, these are lessons in nuance, I think it said that. This is more nuance. This is deeper intimacy. This is conscious partnership. It's not black and white. It never is, honestly, but that's what I'm getting here. There's a need for finding some compromise, and also I'm really strongly feeling here there's a need for clearer communication about the actual needs, not skirting around it, tap dancing around it, trying to make it sound better than it is, or withholding completely. You're gonna have to speak up because the right person's going to hear you. The right person will listen and not judge you and not punish you for it or totally reject you. But I understand, as many people are linear thinkers, they really do think in black and white. This is a practice to think in this way where it isn't an extreme. So I'm going to leave it at that tonight, keep it short and sweet so I can go rest and chill out. New videos, as you saw, are coming on the channel as well, so not just readings anymore. I'm going to be in my little couch corner chatting with you guys. Plus, Stripped podcast is out. New episodes are coming Sunday night, so I just recorded one on what if downsizing is part of your quote-unquote upgrade? Because I know a lot of people in my orbit right now, clients, friends, are experiencing that, releasing the attachment on stuff or whatever and struggling with it, and I understand that because I've intimately been through that. So that's the podcast episode. They're coming out Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Spotify and Apple. Links to that are all in the description box below. If you want a session, 60-minute clarity session to connect with me one-to-one, also link below for that. And yeah, that's what I've got going on right now. And subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet, y'all. I see y'all lurking on here and not subscribing. It helps me a lot when you subscribe. It helps the algorithm. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Those also help me a lot. And also drop in the comments if this resonated or what's going on with you guys. Love to hear from you. Talk to you soon.